Okay, what's up, guys? Game Fiend Fever Games here, and we're back with So You Want to Learn Yu-Gi-Oh! And this episode is going to be about monster cards. But to help me demonstrate furthermore, let's use dual network to the internet.
And we made it to the internet. All right. Okay, so what we have here is just a group of random monsters that I could just briefly explain to you what type of monsters they are, what type of effects some of them have, and how you can summon them, and different types of monsters. Right here we have Dark Magician. Dark Magician is what Pikachu is to Pokemon. Dark Magician is, the calling card of the game. So is Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician. Not to say that they're used frequently, it's just they're the popular cards if you've watched the show. But Dark Magician is a normal monster. As you can see, it only has its attribute on the top right, and what type of monster it is, Spellcaster, and a brief description of what it is. The ultimate wizard in terms of attack and defense. Very corny, I know. 7 stars, so if what you've learned from my last video is it would take 2 monsters to successfully tribute summon him. Blue Eyes White Dragon, Kaiba's calling card. Once again, vanilla, 8 stars. Once again, it would take 2 monsters to successfully tribute summon him. And we have a regular vanilla 4-star monster. You could just play it, it's just 4 stars. See, it's under 5, just play it. Now we go into effect monsters. Sangan. Let's see, effect monsters. They pretty much have extra things that you could do in the card game. For instance, the most popular one that's almost in every deck, Sangan. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, add 1 monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. His effect is a trigger effect. What that means is when this card gets sent to the grave while it's on the field, has to reach the field first successfully. It triggers in grave and then you get this effect. Another thing is Sangan's effect is 100% mandatory. You cannot skip his effect because it says there's no option, there's no choice. Like cards that say canned usually have something where it's a choice or you can mistime it. Sangan's effect cannot mistime it, and I'll get into timing in another episode. But yes, Sangan's effect is triggered. Lila's effect, on the other hand, is something called an ignition effect. Ignition effects usually have the saying once per turn. Or ignition effects, another thing about this, they are effects that only can be activated once per turn. Because this one doesn't say once per turn, but I'm going to read it to you. It says, during your main phase, which means any main phase, could be main phase 1 or 2, you can target 1 spell or trap card your opponent controls. Change this card you control from face-up attack position to defense position and destroy that target. But this card's battle position cannot be changed until the end of your next turn, except with a card effect. During each of your end phases, send the top 3 cards, it should say, my computer's being very slow. It should say send the top 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard, and this card must be face up to resolve this effect. That should be the bottom half of the card. And yes, I was right. This is ignition and trigger. The ignition part being that you have to manually switch it from attack to defense. And the trigger part being coming at the end phase where you have to send the top 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard. Still a regular effect monster. We have Herald, which is a ritual monster. Now, to get ritual monsters on the field, you need a magic card for them. And you need their specific magic card. See, this says this card can only be ritual summoned with the ritual spell card, Dawn of Herald. Oh, look at that. There's Dawn of Herald. Now let's read Dawn of Herald. This card is used to ritual summon Herald of Perfection. You must also tribute monsters whose total levels equal exactly 6 from the field or your hand. When Dawn of Herald Perfection is ritual summoned by this card's effect, you can remove from play this card in your graveyard to select one of the monsters tributed for that ritual summon and return it from your graveyard to your hand. So you do that. The other part, the bottom part is extra, but you do that, you get Herald on the field. And Herald's effect is categorized as quick. Reason being, I'm going to explain that to you after I read the card. This card can only be ritual summoned with the ritual spell card Dawn of Herald. When your opponent activates a spell card, trap card, or effect monsters, or monster effect, you can send one fairy type monster from your hand to the graveyard and negate that activation and destroy the card. The reason why this is a quick effect is because this card can be activated on both turns. And it can be activated anywhere with, I think, in the battle phase as well. Because it is a quick play effect, and as you know, quick play cards, except ones that do damage, can activate in the damage step. But I think this one can too. I'm not sure. But there's a total list of a bunch of effect monsters. There's a lot of different types of effects. I advise you please thoroughly read the annotation that will take you to the link where it explains all the different types of effect monsters and how they work clearly. And here we have Elemental Hero Niños, which is a Gemini monster. The way Geminis work is kind of tricky. Geminis are considered normal monsters while they're in the deck and while they're in the graveyard, not while they're on the field. They're considered as effect monsters on the field, but to get their effect, you have to Gemini summon them. And how you Gemini summon them is they have to be on the field at least a full turn, and then on your next turn, you would have to say effect and Gemini summon them, which that takes up your normal summon and your tribute summon, since you're going to do one a turn. And this one's effect is that this face-up card name just becomes Elemental Hero Niños. And you have the Shadow Monarch, which is a it's a tribute monster. You have to tribute one monster to successfully summon it. And when you do that, it has a trigger effect, which when this card is tribute summoned, target one card on the field, banish that target. If you do, inflict 1,000 damage if it was a dark monster. Trigger. Well, summon trigger, because it's conditional summon, because it has to be tribute summon in order to get that effect. All of the monarchs have trigger effects. Raza, Thunder, and Frost. Now we have Jinzo. Again, 6 stars, so you need to tribute one monster. It has a continuous effect. And trap cards and their effects cannot be activated. The effects of all face-up trap cards on the field are negated. And here we have Effect Veiler, which is a tuner. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Here below we have XYZs, or Xseeds. This is the most popular one at the time, and one of the first ones to come out. Number 39, Utopia. It takes 2 level 4s. And how you get these monsters out is if you you first have to have 2 level 4 monsters. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be effect. They both don't have to be a normal. You just have to have them on the field. And you place one on top of another, and then you place Utopia on top of it. Its effect is when any player's monster declares an attack, you can detach one XYZ material from this card and negate the attack. When this card is targeted for an attack, while it has no XYZ materials, destroy this card. Oh, and for the side note, there's a ruling already. Utopia cannot negate its own attack. It's a ruling, so I know it reads as if it can, but the ruling on the card is that Utopia cannot negate its own attack. But yeah. Also, I think this is a quick effect as well, because it can work on both turns. And here we have this thing called Fusion Monster. Now, how to get fusions out you need magic cards called polymerization. And then you would need the two things that it's asking for. It says 1 hero monster and 1 water monster. So let's say we have polymerization, elemental hero Ninos in hand, and we had the Frost Monarch in hand. We would then play polymerization and send Ninos to the grave along with Frost Monarch, and we would special summon Absolute Zero. There you go. That's how you would get Absolute Zero out. And then we have these called synchro monsters, which they need these things called tuners. They need a tuner. Tuner or tuners. Some need more than one tuner. And Black Rose is 7 stars. So if you already had a Frost Monarch on the field, you would need then to successfully summon Effect Veiler, because it's 1 star. 6 plus 1 equals 7. That equals Black Rose. So then you could send these 2 to the graveyard to successfully special summon Black Rose. And Black Rose is a trigger effect. Once it hits the field, one of its effects is that you could blow up the field. Destroy everything. Everything. Traps, magic, set, back row, destroy field cards, destroy everything. Its second effect is an ignition effect. See that it says once per turn. Once per turn, you can remove from play 1 plant type monster from your graveyard to change 1 defense position monster your opponent controls into face-up attack position and reduces attack to 0 until the end phase. That's its ignition effect. But majority of the players don't use that effect because they would have to be running some type of plant deck. But that's pretty much it. That's all the monsters. And yeah.
Okay, and that's gonna wrap up this episode for So You Want to Know Yu-Gi-Oh! Monsters. Join me next week where we go over these things. Magic, and we're gonna go over trap cards and spell speeds. Alright, remember to rate, like, and I'm Game Fifido Games, guys. I'm out of here. Peace.